Hey you guys, it's me, Mrs. Arneson. I'm making this video to give you some help for part 4, I think, of this lesson, the first lesson for Designer Babies, which is about the basics of DNA. And so we're going to go down to part 4. If you need help on these other parts that are before that, go ahead and give me a text or send me an email. But I wanted to go over these directions with you because this is a little bit of a complicated assignment. It involves some you to put some things together from multiple sources. So that's brain synthesis, which is higher level thinking, and so it can be challenging sometimes. So here's what you need to know about this assignment. First of all, you do need to do parts 1 through 3 before you can start part 4 because some of the things that are in part 4 you're going to learn in those other sections. So let's look at this. In real life, to make a graphic organizer, I would have you guys cut out pieces of paper and then glue them on. So like we would make like a chart and we'd literally move it and glue it on. But because we're online, we can't really do that. So we're going to have to copy and paste instead. I know I go on and on about not copying and pasting in class, but in this case, it's okay. Here's what you need to do. Read all of these directions before you start, and you can watch this video if you want. If you are watching this video, then you want. Read all the definitions as shown in the graphic organizer chart shown below. Some of the words are new. So we've got DNA, RNA, ribosome, amino acid, gene, trait, mutation, nucleotide. I don't think we talked about traits, mutations, or nucleotides specifically earlier in these videos, so those are the new ones. Read all of the definitions in the row second from the bottom. If you know what vocabulary word matches with the definition, you can copy and paste it right into the box. Okay, so let's go down to the second from the bottom box. All right, it's right here. I know this is really the bottom one, even though it's on the next page. So it says tiny molecules that are put together into genetic material like DNA and RNA. The physical expression of a gene, tiny molecules that are put together in a wide variety of shapes called proteins. A molecule used for copying genes which later work with ribosomes to build proteins. Mistake made in genetic information, a string of DNA or RNA that codes for a specific protein. A type of protein that is a machine for building other proteins. A molecule that contains nucleotide directions for constructions of proteins. Okay, wow, well, it seems that this is all about proteins, and that's true. So when we talk about genetics, what we're really talking about is how does the DNA that your parents gave you get passed down and then build you the way you are. So you have a lot of genes, you have a lot of DNA that never gets built into being part of you, and there's different versions of genes that can be built into part of you. So really what we're looking at when we study DNA is a lot of times how those proteins are getting put together, that the directions are in the DNA. So what you would need to do is if you know one of these right now, like let's say you remember what the definition of DNA is. When you read it, you're like, oh yeah, I know that. Then you would make a copy of that and then paste it right into here, right into the DNA. I'm just going to copy and paste the first one to show you what I mean. You can do this a couple of ways. You can push Control C, and that would make the whole, that would leave that definition down there. You can also do Control X. Control X deletes it. So when you put it up here in DNA, which I'm not telling you that's the definition, right or wrong, I don't know. When you copy and paste that in there, it's gone from your list, so you don't have to worry about choosing it again. I'm going to go ahead and undo that change because I do not want that. Okay, then the next part of the directions is look at the pictures in the bottom row. If you know which vocabulary word matches the definition, you can copy and paste it right into the box. So down here, there's hair color, there's a whole bunch of letters that are in 3 letters at a time form. There's some dots here. Okay, there's a lot of pictures, and these all go with one of these definitions, one of these terms. So for C and D, I've said if you know what these are, then you can just copy and paste it. Now, let's say you don't know any of them, like you don't have any idea. You did this, you got these questions right, but you still don't remember the definition. Well, what you can do is I found this really awesome website. Like, I just love it. It's called National Human Genome Research Institute, and it is their glossary, and an audio glossary and a visual glossary. So it tells you all the definitions. So it has the most common terms when we discuss genetics. So let's say I'm trying to find the DNA definition. So I could go to D and then click on deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA, and it tells me this information here. It gives me a picture, and not only that, it also has this down here where we can hear a written description of the DNA written by somebody who has credibility in that field. So I think this is really awesome. You can, once you finish looking at one word, you can just keep scrolling down and it has all the words or the letters down here so you can pick the next one that you need. So that's what you're going to do to fill this out, is use the Quoll website. Do not just Google DNA and copy and paste what Google says. You may not do that. You have to use these definitions. So you're going to have to figure out how I've reworded. I'm trying to do this instead of having you guys do the definition, because sometimes people just copy and paste even though I tell them not to, and then I have to give it back in a zero. And I hate Googling what was cheated on. Like, I'll read something and be like, I know that this is cheating, and then I have to go try to find it on the internet, which is a waste of my time. So I'm trying this out. The last thing that you have to do, of course, is match the pictures. And the cool thing about this website is that it gives you pictures. So here is an example of a mutation. And so then when you go back to look at your images, you can see which one of those is the most related or makes the most sense to be describing a mutation or whatever word you're looking at. Alrighty, I hope that's helpful and I hope you have a good day.